Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about one of the most urgent and secretive military projects underway right now. It is a missile the United States is rushing to build, faster than normal, with massive funding, political pressure, and global attention. This missile is not just another upgrade. It represents a shift in how wars may be fought in the future, and why Washington believes time is running out. To understand why the United States is moving so fast, we first need to understand what has changed in the global security environment. For decades, the US enjoyed a technological edge in missiles, air power, and defense systems, but that gap is closing quickly. Rival powers have spent years studying American weapons, learning their weaknesses, and building systems specifically designed to counter them. One of the biggest wake-up calls for the Pentagon came from recent conflicts where missiles and drones played a decisive role. These wars showed that modern battlefields are dominated by speed, precision, and the ability to strike from long distances. Missiles are no longer just strategic weapons, they are tactical tools used daily, sometimes hourly, to shape the battlefield. The missile the United States is rushing to build is designed to address a very specific problem. The US military believes that in a future conflict, especially against a near-peer rival, existing missiles may not be fast enough, long, ranged enough, or survivable enough. In other words, current weapons might be intercepted, jammed, or destroyed before they reach their targets. Speed is one of the most critical factors here. Modern air defense systems are becoming extremely capable, radar networks are faster, tracking is more precise, and interceptors are smarter. To defeat these defenses, missiles must move faster than ever before, reducing reaction time to just seconds. This is why hypersonic technology has become such a priority. Hypersonic missiles travel at speeds greater than Mach 5, meaning more than 5 times the speed of sound. At these speeds, a missile can cross hundreds of kilometers in minutes, but speed alone is not the main advantage. Hypersonic missiles can maneuver during flight, making their path unpredictable and extremely difficult to intercept. The United States watched closely as other countries tested and deployed their own hypersonic systems. These tests sent a clear message that the era of predictable missile trajectories is ending. For American planners, this raised a troubling question. What happens if US bases, ships, or allies are threatened by weapons they cannot reliably stop? This fear is one of the main reasons the US is accelerating development. Officials believe that deterrence depends on credibility. If adversaries believe the US cannot respond quickly or effectively, the balance of power shifts. A new missile is meant to restore that balance and send a signal that the US can strike back, no matter how advanced the defenses it faces. Another key reason for the rush is geography. Potential future conflicts may occur in regions where distances are vast and access is limited. The Pacific region is a prime example. Targets could be thousands of kilometers away, protected by layers of air and missile defenses. Traditional missiles may not have the range or survivability needed in such environments. The new missile is expected to combine long range with extreme speed and precision. This allows it to be launched from safer distances while still reaching heavily defended targets. It also gives commanders more options, reducing reliance on aircraft or ships that might be vulnerable early in a conflict. Time is also a critical factor. Military analysts often talk about the opening hours or days of a war. These early moments can determine the outcome. The US wants a missile that can strike quickly, before an adversary has time to reposition forces, hide assets, or escalate further. There is also a political dimension to this rush. Defense programs usually take many years, sometimes decades, to move from concept to deployment, but political leaders are increasingly impatient. They want results that can be shown, tested, and fielded within a shorter time frame. This pressure filters down to contractors and engineers. Funding reflects this urgency. Billions of dollars have been allocated to missile development, testing, and production. Budgets that once moved slowly are now being fast-tracked. Special authorities allow programs to bypass some of the traditional bureaucratic hurdles, all in the name of speed. However, rushing a missile program comes with risks. Hypersonic technology is extremely complex. Materials must withstand intense heat and stress. Guidance systems must function at incredible speeds. Even small errors can lead to failure. Several tests have already shown how difficult this technology is to master. Despite these challenges, the US believes the risk of doing nothing is greater. Falling behind in missile technology could have serious consequences. Allies might lose confidence. Adversaries might become more aggressive. The strategic landscape could shift in ways that are hard to reverse. Another important aspect of this missile is flexibility. The US military wants a weapon that can be launched from multiple platforms. This could include land-based launchers, ships, submarines, and possibly aircraft. Flexibility increases survivability and complicates enemy planning. Land-based missiles, for example, can be moved and hidden, making them harder to target. Sea-based missiles benefit from the mobility of ships and submarines. Air-launched missiles allow rapid deployment to different regions. A missile that can work across these platforms offers a major advantage. The missile is also expected to carry different types of warheads. While much attention is focused on conventional roles, the design may allow for various payloads depending on the mission. This adaptability makes the weapon useful across a wide range of scenarios, from limited strikes to large-scale conflicts. One reason this program matters so much is its impact on global arms competition. When one country develops a new class of missile, others respond. This can lead to an arms race, with each side trying to outpace the other. The US is aware of this dynamic but believes it has little choice. From Washington's perspective, not pursuing this missile would signal weakness. It would suggest acceptance of vulnerability. In a world where power is closely tied to technological capability, that is not a message the US wants to send. There is also a defensive logic behind the missile. Offensive capabilities can strengthen defense by deterrence. If adversaries know that their key assets are vulnerable, they may think twice before acting. This concept has shaped military strategy for decades, and it still applies today. Critics argue that rushing missile development increases the risk of mistakes and accidents. They worry about insufficient testing, unclear doctrines, and escalation risks. A weapon that moves faster and hits sooner also leaves less time for decision-making, increasing the chance of miscalculation. Supporters counter that careful planning and clear communication can manage these risks. They point out that adversaries are developing similar systems, and failing to respond would be more dangerous in the long run. Another factor driving urgency is industrial capacity. The US defense industry has changed over the years. Some production lines have shrunk and specialized skills have become rarer. Accelerating this missile program also means rebuilding and sustaining the industrial base needed for future conflicts. This includes suppliers of advanced materials, electronics, propulsion systems, and software. The missile is not just a weapon, it is a catalyst for innovation across multiple sectors. The technologies developed here may influence civilian industries as well. Testing remains one of the biggest challenges. Hypersonic tests are expensive and difficult to conduct. Each test requires precise coordination, specialized facilities, and months of preparation. Failures are costly but expected. The US is increasing the pace of testing to learn faster and improve designs. Secrecy surrounds many aspects of the missile. Details about speed, range, and exact capabilities are closely guarded. This secrecy is intentional. It protects sensitive technology and keeps adversaries guessing. At the same time, selective disclosures are used to signal progress and capability. International reactions to this program have been mixed. Allies generally support efforts to maintain balance and deterrence, especially those who feel threatened by advanced missile systems elsewhere. However, some worry about being drawn into an arms race or becoming targets themselves. For rivals, the message is clear. The US is not standing still. It is investing heavily to ensure it can operate in contested environments and overcome advanced defenses. Whether this deters conflict or fuels competition remains an open question. The timeline for deployment is ambitious. Officials have hinted at initial operational capability within a few years, not decades. This is unusually fast for such advanced technology. It reflects both urgency and confidence that enough progress has been made to justify acceleration. Training and doctrine will need to evolve alongside the missile. New weapons require new ways of thinking about war. Commanders must understand when and how to use them. Decision-making processes may need to be streamlined to match the speed of the weapon. The missile also raises questions about arms control. Existing treaties do not always clearly cover hypersonic weapons. This creates legal and diplomatic gray areas. Some experts argue for new agreements, while others believe such talks are unrealistic in the current climate. Public awareness of this missile remains limited. Unlike aircraft or ships, missiles are largely invisible until they are used, yet their impact on strategy and security is enormous. This is why understanding why the US is rushing to build this missile matters. At its core, this program reflects a simple but powerful belief within the US defense establishment. Future wars will be decided by those who can see farther, move faster, and strike more precisely. Missiles that combine these qualities are seen as essential tools. The rush is not about aggression for its own sake. It is about fear of falling behind, fear of vulnerability, and fear that deterrence could fail. Whether these fears are justified is debated, but they are real drivers of policy. As development continues, the world will watch closely. Each test, each announcement, and each deployment will be analyzed for what it says about the future of warfare. The missile the United States is rushing to build is more than metal and fuel. It is a symbol of a rapidly changing world,